The hum of printers, the clatter of keyboards, and the faint smell of coffee filled Crestwood Limited's open office. Among the rows of desks sat Amara, a quiet force in a sea of noise. She arrived early every day, often with a smile, and left late, her desk spotless and her tasks complete. Clients knew her name. Managers trusted her reports without question. Her work was so good that even Mr. Bamadil, the CEO, once joked at a staff meeting, "If I had 10 Amaras, I'd retire early." Everyone laughed, except a few who exchanged glances. Amara didn't brag, but her results spoke for her. She never missed deadlines, and somehow, she kept calm even during the company's most stressful seasons. But she didn't know that while her star was rising, dark clouds of resentment were already forming around her. It was a Monday morning when Mr. Ade, her supervisor, walked over. "The CEO wants to see you." Amara's heart skipped. She smoothed her blouse and stepped into Mr. Bamadil's office. He leaned back in his chair, smiling. "Amara, I want you to lead our new international project. You'll coordinate between departments and handle the client directly. I trust you." Her hands trembled slightly. "Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you." When she returned to her desk, her colleagues noticed her beaming face. "What happened?" asked TT from accounts. "I'm leading the new project," Amara said, trying to sound casual. A few clapped. TT smiled warmly, but others simply nodded and turned back to their screens. She felt an odd chill, as if the air in the room had shifted. By lunchtime, the news had spread. Amara walked into the staff cafeteria and felt the sudden hush. She got in line for food, pretending not to notice. But near the corner table, she heard them, two voices she knew well. "She's just lucky," one said. "Lucky? Please." "She's always hanging around the boss's office," the other replied with a snort. Amara's spoon paused halfway to her plate. She swallowed the lump in her throat and took her food back to her desk. She told herself not to care, but the words followed her like shadows. A week into the project, Amara needed a printed report for a client call. She reached for the file on her desk. Gone. She checked her drawers, shelves, even the bin. Nothing. Looking for something. Tun from marketing leaned against her desk, sipping coffee. "Yes, my client file. Have you seen it?" "Nope," he said, but his smirk told another story. She finally found it in the printer room, torn slightly at the edges, as if someone had handled it carelessly. She said nothing, but the unease in her stomach grew. During a team meeting, Amara presented a new marketing idea. Before she could finish, Tund cut in. "That was my suggestion last week, remember?" The manager frowned. "Was it?" Amara could have argued, but she forced a smile. "We discussed it together. I'm glad we're on the same page." The meeting continued, but inside she burned. This wasn't just petty behavior, it was sabotage. 2 days later, she received a call from the client. "Amara, why haven't you responded to our urgent email?" "Urgent email? I never saw it," she said, confused. IT later confirmed the email had been deleted manually from her inbox. She sat at her desk, hands cold. Someone wanted her to fail, and they weren't hiding it well anymore. That evening, Mr. Ade called her into his office. "Amara, I see what's happening. You're the best here, but excellence alone won't save you from envy. If you don't win hearts, they'll find ways to trip you up." She nodded slowly. "So what do I do?" "Be excellent, but make them feel part of it. Let them shine with you." The next morning, Amara began her quiet counterattack. She started acknowledging others in meetings. "TT's research was a big help," she'd say. Or, "Tun's suggestions shaped this idea." It was a risk. She knew some hadn't truly helped, but the tension in the air began to loosen. When the international project finally succeeded, Amara didn't just send a thank you email. She bought cake, snacks, and drinks. "This win is for all of us," she said as the office gathered. Laughter and conversation filled the room. Even those who had ignored her joined in. By December, the CEO named Amara Best Staff of the Year. This time, the applause was loud and genuine. She had not only survived the jealousy, she had turned rivals into allies. She realized true success wasn't about standing above others, but standing with them. The Monday after the award ceremony, Amara noticed something odd. Tund, who had laughed and eaten cake with her last week, now barely spoke to her. When she passed him in the hallway, he muttered something under his breath that she couldn't catch. Even Titi, who used to share lunch with her, started avoiding her desk. It confused her. She thought things were improving, but clearly, not everyone was ready to forgive her success. By Wednesday, a new rumor was spreading, that Amara had gotten the award because she was too close to the CEO. She heard it first from Nkechi, a kind-hearted receptionist who whispered, "Please be careful. Some people are saying things about you." Amara's face went pale. She had worked hard for everything, and the idea that people thought she cheated her way up hurt more than she wanted to admit. One evening, Amara stayed back late to finish a client proposal. The office was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner. Suddenly, she noticed her laptop cursor moving on its own. Someone was trying to access her files remotely. She yanked the cable from the wall. Heart pounding, she called IT. They traced it to another staff login, but wouldn't tell her the name without management's approval. The next morning, Amara reported the hacking attempt to Mr. Ade. He sighed. "I believe you, but we need to handle this carefully. If we accuse anyone without proof, it will cause chaos." She felt powerless. Even though she had caught someone trying to sabotage her, she couldn't do anything about it. 2 days later, a big client meeting went horribly wrong. Amara's presentation slides were full of wrong figures and missing charts. She was certain she had checked them the night before. After the meeting, she opened the saved file on her laptop. It was perfect. Someone had swapped her USB with a tampered copy. When she confronted the team, no one met her eyes. That evening, as she packed her bag, a quiet voice spoke from behind her. It was Ada from the admin department. "I saw Tund with your USB this morning," Ada whispered. "I think he's trying to make you look bad." Amara's chest tightened. She had suspected him, but hearing it confirmed made her angry and afraid at the same time. Amara decided to test Ada's information. The next week, she deliberately left a fake file on her desk with small, obvious mistakes. She waited. The next morning, she found it open on her laptop with changes made, changes that made her look incompetent. This time, she took screenshots and emailed them to Mr. Ade. Mr. Ade called Tund into the boardroom with Amara present. At first, Tund denied everything. But when shown the evidence, his face darkened. "She thinks she's better than everyone. I just wanted to bring her down a bit," he muttered. Amara sat still, shocked. Tund was suspended for a month without pay. While some co-workers now treated her with respect for standing her ground, others felt she had gone too far. "You made him lose his salary," one whispered as she passed. Amara began to realize, winning against jealousy didn't always make you popular. A new staff member, Fola, joined the company. She was friendly, energetic, and seemed to admire Amara. "You're the reason I applied here," she told her. But Amara couldn't shake the feeling that Fola's friendliness was a little too perfect. Within 2 months, Fola was everywhere, helping in meetings, volunteering for extra work, laughing with management. People began comparing her to Amara. "Looks like we have a new star," someone said during lunch. Amara didn't mind competition, but she noticed something strange. Fola often asked about her clients, her strategies, and her personal schedule. Soon, Amara's unique presentation style appeared in Fola's work. Even her phrases in emails were copied. Clients started calling Fola directly for updates, and Amara realized her influence was slipping. "She's trying to replace me," Amara thought. One Friday, Fola invited Amara to co-present a proposal. The morning of the presentation, Fola called in sick, leaving Amara to handle it alone, without key documents that Fola had promised to bring. Amara improvised, but the client's reaction was lukewarm. Later, Amara discovered Fola had attended another meeting that same morning with the same client, pitching her own version of the proposal. That night, Amara sat at home, staring at her laptop. She was tired of fighting jealousy, sabotage, and lies. A part of her wanted to resign. But another part remembered Mr. Ade's words, "Be excellent, but make them feel part of it." Maybe she needed a new plan. On Monday, Amara began rebuilding her network inside the office. She reached out to people who had never been part of the drama, junior staff, quiet team members, even the cleaning crew. She listened to them, helped them with small problems, and built loyalty in places Fola and the others ignored. She decided she wouldn't fight by destroying others. She would win by being so valuable that no one could erase her. Amara's new approach began to pay off. The junior staff adored her. She taught them shortcuts for reports, helped them polish presentations, and even bought them snacks after long days. But one afternoon, Ada pulled her aside. "Fola's telling people you're forming a secret group to push her out," she whispered. Amara sighed. She hadn't said a single bad word about Fola, but she knew how fast lies traveled in an office. Two of Amara's regular clients suddenly requested to work directly with someone else. After some digging, she learned they had been told she was too busy to handle them. When she confronted the account manager, he admitted, "Fola said it came from you." It was a subtle but dangerous tactic, cutting off her connections without leaving proof. Amara decided not to react publicly. Instead, she began saving every email, every text, every forwarded message. She instructed her assistant to CC her on all client communications. She also made sure the CEO received regular updates on her projects, straight from her, not filtered through others. Crestwood Limited landed a major deal that would define the company's year. The CEO appointed both Amara and Fola to co-lead the project. It was a make-or-break situation, and both women knew only one of them would come out on top. 2 weeks before the client presentation, key files went missing from the shared drive. Fola claimed she had accidentally deleted them and suggested restarting the work from scratch. But Amara wasn't fooled. She had backups on a personal drive, time-stamped and ready. When she calmly restored the files in the next meeting, Fola's face tightened. Amara began to include everyone in the project's progress, junior staff, other departments, even the CEO himself. By making the project a company-wide effort, she removed any chance for Fola to privately manipulate the narrative. Every win was celebrated as a team victory, every challenge tackled openly. The boardroom was packed. The CEO, department heads, and the client's full team sat waiting. Fola started the presentation but stumbled over key figures Amara had double-checked days earlier. Calmly, Amara took over, delivering clear, confident points backed with visuals. By the time she finished, the client was smiling. After the meeting, the CEO called both women into his office. "The client was impressed," he said. "But I also reviewed internal communications and found troubling behavior, Fola. This company rewards teamwork, not sabotage." Fola's eyes widened. "Sir, Enough. You're being reassigned to a non-client role," the CEO said firmly. When the deal was officially signed, the office celebrated. This time, Amara didn't bring cake alone. Everyone contributed. The applause she received wasn't forced or polite. It was warm, genuine, and filled with respect. Even some who once disliked her came forward to congratulate her. Months later, Amara had become more than the best performer. She was a mentor, a bridge between departments, and a quiet leader people trusted. She learned that in any workplace, excellence could draw both admiration and envy. But the true test wasn't just surviving the jealousy. It was rising above it, proving that success could be shared, and that lifting others didn't dim your own light. And so, Amara kept shining, bright enough to light the way for others, but never so blinding that they couldn't stand beside her.